till it appears. Okay, we're on. So, Rabbis, I want to share with you three ha'oris this morning, two on the Parsha Hashavua and one on Lag BaOmer, which again is Tuesday, Mitzvah Hashem, B'Shah Tova. So we mentioned yesterday in Parsha Emor, we once again have the Parsha of Korban Toida. The pasuk says, "V'chisiz v'chusei Hashem v'ertzoinchem tizbachu." So Rashi points out, why was it necessary to go ahead and to repeat once again the Parsha of Toida, which was already expressed, articulated in Parshas Tzav? So Rashi gives several different pshatim. One of them that he gives is that Korban Toida, which is a Korban Shlomim, is different than regular Korban Shlomim in that it's only nechal l'yom echad v'layla achas, as opposed to regular Shlomim that's nechal l'shnei yomim v'layla echad. Korban Toida only has that day that you bring it the subsequent night until Chatzais. And therefore, Rashi says, maybe one could think that therefore there wouldn't be a din of nicer, the din of nicer would be different. Chumash Parsha, no, there's a din of nicer, you're not supposed to leave it over. So there's a very important netziv in Parshas Tzav, actually, where the Iker dinim of Korban Toida is given. And that is that Korban Toida is also unique from the Korban Shlomim, in that they're called something called the Lachmei Toida, which are breads that are to be eaten with the Korban Toida. So the Netziv in Chumash in Parshas Tzav over there points out a very interesting thing. Al zevach shlomo mishumachi lechem chametz u'ikum mishum shehu zevach Toida shlomo v'inyan the tachlis Toida shabal anesu l'saper chaz Hashem shagam al. As we mentioned yesterday, the tachlis of a Korban Toida is to be thanked to Rebbeinu Shalom for the nace that occurred to him. Yordei Hayom, Holchem Midbori Eis, Chaylesh Nisrape, Chaylesh Beis Asurim. All these things are minor nisim, and sometimes it's a major nace. So a person brings a Korban Toida, but to get with that Korban Toida, he has to bring a whole bunch of loaves of Lachmei Toida. So the Netziv writes over here, the Tachlis. Now, why is that? Why is it that it's only Nechal Yom Echad, Loyla V'Laya Echad? Says the Netziv, Umitam Zeh Riba Akosa Belechem Umiyat Bisman Achila Toida Mikol Shlomim Hainu Kidei Sheimar Bereim L'Suda Achas B'Yom Akrova V'Sipur Haneis Lifnei Roiv Anoshim. You have a problem over here. Besides the Etzem Korban, you have all of this bread. You have to finish it, Laila, B'Yom V'Laila. If not, it's nicer. Now, you're not supposed to leave over a Korban. How do you get rid of all this food? The answer is Rabbeisai that when you bring a Korban Toida, you also make a Sudas Haidah. And you invite your family, and you invite your friends, and you invite everybody that you can get. Why? Because you want to be mefarsim the nes. The Netziv says it's not coincidental that this korban is riba. There's a lot of food to eat, and there's a little time to do it, which forces a person to do it with his friends and family, because that's really the tachlis of the Korban Toida, to be mesaper b'fnei am v'eda. The Rebbeinu Shalom did me a nace. Yesterday I was asked. There are two people in England that are suffering from the COVID-19. One of them really was on the threshold of death. Since they've been sick, the family the family every day, Monday through Thursday at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, says Tehillim. They start the Tehillim when they ask somebody to speak, give words of chizuk, this and that. So yesterday they asked me to speak. The fellow this is his father told me that his father's situation was so bad that they called the wife come to the hospital, which apparently in London they do, because he's on his deathbed. At that time, they went ahead, the family, and they said the entire Sefer Tehillim. And the woman walked out and she told them there's no suffix in her mind that it was just Tehillim that saved him. And now he's on his road to recovery. Happens to be a cousin of Dr. Jacobitz, who called me afterwards and told me, how appreciative they're. But the main thing is that how this person was near death. And now they want to be mefarsim, that you see the koach hatfilah. And that is why there is a korban toida, that miyat ba'achilasai v'riba ba'achila. To go ahead and to do this b'shar bas rabim l'fnei am v'eda, the misapa the nisei Hashem. And the Netziv Rabbi Isai in his Herchev Dovar, the parish of the Netziv on the Torah, as you all know, is Hemek Dovar. So on the bottom there, he has a thing called Herchev Dovar, in which he's ma'arich a little more than on this, what he talked about. So the Netziv writes over here on the Pasuk in Tehillim, which we say in Hallel, L'cha ezbach toida uv'shem Hashem ekra, nidorai l'Hashem hashalem, negda no l'chol amoi, v'chatzei space Hashem v'seichechi v'shalayim, hallelujah. We all know that. So he wants to know, what's the pshat? It's zevach toida uv'shem Hashem nidorai l'Hashem, negda no l'chol amoi. What are the two things? V'chatzei space Hashem v'seichechi v'shalayim. Is it in Yerushalayim? Is it Lifnei Hashem, or is it Negda no l'chol amoi? So Netziv writes over here very, very, very beautifully. Elatrei mili ka'amar, l'chol ezbach dava hu korban. That's the korban l'Hashem. Uv'shem Hashem ekra. That's kol toida l'Hashem tzvokes al hanes. Ubir al havas hakorban nidar l'Hashem al haidar b'shem Hashem negda no l'chol amoi. Because the Netziv says this is taka an anomaly. Hatznei alechasim Hashem alikecha. And over here, negda no l'chol amoi, which is l'chara counter to the whole concept. We keep private. We're not mefarsim, etc., etc. No, this is a place to be mefarsim. This is a place to go out and say, Negda no l'chol amoi. Look what the Rebbeinu Hashem did for me. And that's the two things in the pasuk. L'cha ez b'zeh b'toida. For you, the Rebbeinu Hashem, are being korban toida. Uv'shem Hashem ekra. The Shem Hashem ekra neged kol amoi. Why? That's the B'chatzis Beis Hashem b'seichechi v'shalayim, which means B'chatzis Beis Hashem. That's the korban b'seichechi v'shalayim. That's the negda no l'chol amoi. Azay sot the Netziv, and that's why the Torah B'dafka made this contradictory event. A lot of food, little time. You have to share it. And you have to go ahead and to be mefarsim the neis that the Rebbeinu Hashem did for you. That's Ha'ara Aleph. Ha'ara Beis Abaisai is at the end of the Parsha. We have the story of the Makallel. What's the story of the Makallel? Vayetze ben ish Yisraelis v'hi hu ben ish mitzri b'sech b'nei Yisrael vayinotze b'machne ben ha-Yisraelis v'ish ha-Yisraeli. Story of a guy who had a Jewish mother, but he did not have a Jewish father. And he got into a fight with another Jew. So he went ahead and he blasphemed the Shem Hashem. For those of you who don't know what the word blaspheme means, blasphemy is, mamish, you insult the Rebbeinu Shalom. Now, a person, as we know from the Parsha, will soon see, is chayiv misa for that. But that is really one of the worst averos a person can do. He's mekalel the Rebbeinu Shalom. He curses God. So what happened over here? So the pasuk continues that the They put the guy in jail because they didn't know what to do with him. What's his einish? So Rashi over here supplies the Chazal. Actually, it's the Medrash. What's the context? What happened over here? This guy gets into a fight with another Jew. And then it says, Hu ben Isha Yisraelis. He is the son of a Jewish woman. So Rashi over here tells us an interesting story. And that there was a fellow, a man and a woman who were in Mitzrayim. And one of the Egyptian taskmaster comes into this person at the end of the night when it's still dark to get this guy out of bed to do his slave work. So there was no privacy. He just marches into the tent. And anyway, the guy, the Jew, the husband has to leave. And then this Egyptian taskmaster comes back and he's mizana with the wife. Now Rashi explains, it's pitch black outside, there's no light, there's no electricity. She thought that this guy was her husband. He had relations with her. As a result of that, she became pregnant. The husband comes back and sees what's going on. This is the story of the Ish Mitzri Make Ish Yisraeli in Parsha Shmos. That's the story. This woman got pregnant and she had a son. And who is the son? The son is this guy, this Mekalel. Now, why was he Mekalel? Why did he get into a fight with another Jew? So Rashi explains that he goes to Shevet Dan. Remember, his mother is from Shevet Dan. Goes to Shevet Dan and says, listen, I'm a Dani. I'm one of you. I'm from your Shevet, one of you guys. They say, no, you're not. Your father's a guy. And when it comes to Nachala, when it comes to the Shvatim, it goes after the father. Guess what, pal? You're a man without a country. You're a man without a Shevet. Because your father's not Jewish, your mother's Jewish, but Shvatim don't go after the mother. The guy gets so upset, he gets into a fight with this fellow from Dan. Doesn't say what happened in the fight, but after that, this has prompted this guy to be Mekalel L'Shem Hashem. He was so upset, he was so angry, that he went ahead and was Mekalel, blasphemed L'Shem Hashem. So this is the first time this happened since Klal Yisrael is a nation. They didn't know what to do with this guy. So Memela, the Rebbeinu Shalom asked Moshe, asked the Rebbeinu, what do we do with him? What's his Mishnah? What's his Einish? Take this guy's chayiv skila. Okay? That's what you do with him. Now, if you or I were writing the Torah, the next pasuk would be, which is the last pasuk in Parshas Emor, or the second last pasuk, or it is the last pasuk. Finish the story. You have the whole story. They didn't know what to do with the guy. They put him in jail. Hashem tells Moshe Rabbeinu, he's chayav skila. What should come next? And they did it. No. In the middle of this story, in the middle of this parsha, leaving us in suspense, then the Torah goes in and launches into a series of dinim. If you kill another Jew, you're chayiv misa. If you go ahead and you damage somebody's cow, you have to pay the money. You go ahead, you punch another Jew, you have to pay, etc., etc. And then back to the ranch, back to the story. What did they do? They stoned him. Why is the parsha interrupted with Make Ish Ma'isumas, Make Behema Yishalmena, Make Adam Shever Tacha Shever? It's not Keseder. Why is that? So here's another example, Rabbi Yisai, of Hashgacha Pratis. That's another example when a person has to say for a rabbin the siyata d'shmaya that a person has. There's a fellow who I never met. His name is Schondorf. From the sound of his voice, he sounds like an old Jew. And from time to time, I don't know, every 3-6 months, he calls me up, he listens to my tapes, listens to my shiurim, comes, has ha'aras, and it's obvious he's a man to Talmud Chacham. He knows what he's talking about. So the other day, when was it? Wednesday, he calls me up out of the blue. He had heard my shiur on Parshas Emor, and now he's going ahead and he's telling me ha'ara. And he told me over a ha'ara from a sefer called Maaseh Hashem. This sefer was written by a person named Eliezer Ashkenazi who lived in the 15 and 1600s. So this is a kadmai. So out of the blue, he goes ahead and tells me this, which is a very, very good ha'ara. You know why the Torah interrupts and interjects in the middle of the parsha, the Mekalel, Maka Yishu Yalmena, Maka Behema, etc., etc.? You know why? Because this is what is a common expression today in the United States of America called a teachable moment. And that is that this was a teachable moment to Klal Yisrael. And therefore, the Rebbe Shem tells Moshe Rabbeinu, take advantage of this teachable moment. And how do you do that? You tell them, you know what happened to the Mekalel? You know what brought the Mekalel to this stage that he's Mekalel, the Shem Hashem? Because he got angry. And he was bekas. Because he goes to Shevet Dan and they tell him, get out of here. You're not one of us. And he gets so angry, he gets into a fight. And then he gets more angry and he's Mekal the Shem Hashem. Why? Because he lost his temper. And when you lose your temper, then you can go from beating up another Jew or getting into a fight with another Jew, getting so angry that you're Mekalel the Shem Hashem. And therefore, that's the teachable moment. We're talking about a Mekalel. The source of his troubles was Ka'as. And you know what can come because of Ka'as? You know, most murders are crimes of passion. Person gets so angry with somebody else, person gets so angry with his wife, she gets angry with him, people kill each other. I mean, good, there's other reasons for murder, drugs, theft, etc., but a lot of them, most of them are crimes of passion. You get so angry, you lose control. And therefore, that's the teachable moment that the Torah wants to tell us about over here. And therefore, in the middle of the Parsha of the Mikal, before it finishes, it tells us about the pitfalls and the destruction that can come about as a result of anger, as we see from this story over here. And now, Rabbi Isai, one last ha'ora on Lag BaOmer. There is a big discussion among the Meforshim, going back to the Rishonim, what exactly is the Yontif of Lag BaOmer about? You know, Lag BaOmer, I mean, obviously this year it's gonna affect you in that you can take a haircut and you could listen to music and you can have chasanas, but at least in Litvish yeshivas, Lag BaOmer is not such a big deal. In fact, in one of the classic sayings, or that Rab Nachum Parchovitz was a great Rosh Yeshiva in the Amir Yeshiva Yerushalayim. So his reaction to Lag BaOmer is that Reb Shimon ben Yochai comes to the Amir Yeshiva in Yerushalayim to learn on Lag BaOmer. That's the Gans of Lag BaOmer. But in Eretz Yisrael, it's if you've been there, I've never been to Eretz Yisrael Lag BaOmer. It's mamish. It's the single largest event in Eretz Yisrael the entire year. Anoshim, Noshim, Etaf, Sfardim, Ashkenazim, Hasidim, Freya, Chiloinim, Charedim. Hundreds of thousands of people gather in Meron, and they with the children, with the upshare, with the shechten. Anyway, what is this yontif? So there's a variety of opinions. Al Pizar, it seems to say that this is the Yom Hilula de Reb Shimon ben Yochai. It's the Yortzeit of Reb Shimon ben Yochai. And Reb Shimon ben Yochai, the author of the Zohar, Hatana Eloki, that's how Reb Shimon ben Yochai is referred to, Hatana Eloki. So he said that you should make a great simcha on the Yontif, and that's why this is very big among Hasidim and Sfardim, because they go with the Zohar. The Chidah writes, and he says, no, it's not true. This is not the Yontif of Shimon ben Yochai. So what then is the simcha? So the Meiri in Masechta Yevamis, the Meiri writes, and he says in Yevamis Samach Beis, Sheba'oisa Hayom Pasku Talmidei Rabbi Akiva Lamus. You know, Rabbi said that the Yemei Asfira that we are in now is because there was a Magefa in the times of Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Akiva's yeshiva, which ironically Rabbi said there's a Magefa now as well. And Mesu Chav Daled Elef Talmidim of Rabbi Akiva, 24,000 Talmidim of Rabbi Akiva died in this time of year. And on Lag BaOmer, they stopped. Lag BaOmer, it stopped. But Mela, that's why they made a great simcha, because on Lag BaOmer, the Talmidim stopped dying. Now, if you think about it, that's a little strange. That you make a grace a yontif, as people stopped dying. I mean, Azai Yontif, it's the biggest celebration in Eretz Yisrael. Because the Talmidim stopped dying, that's a cause for such, okay, Baruch Hashem, they stopped dying. But that it should be such a simcha, and because they stopped dying. So the Chidah in his Sefer on Maris Ayin, which is one of the Svarim of the Chidah and Siman Tov Tzadi Gimel, writes, no, you know what the Simcha is? The Simcha is because on that very day that the Talmidim stopped dying, Rabbi Akiva, who had just suffered this devastating loss, 24,000 of his Talmidim, that means 24,000 Tanoim. On that day, at Shabor Rabbi Akiva, Eitzel Rabbi Senu Shebedorim, V'shana Lahem, Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Yasi, Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Elazar ben Shamua, V'heim, Himidu Torah. That on this day, Rabbi Isai was the rebirth of Torah Shebal Peh. Rabbi Akiva is from the Gadol HaTanoim, at 24,000 Talmidim, the future Tanoim, the future Bali HaMishnah, Bali HaTalmud. They all died out. Imagine such a loss. Such a loss. What this devastated terror, the closest thing that we can think of this is the Holocaust. When thousands of Fruma Yidden, Talmidei Chachamim, Bnei Yeshiva, they're all wiped out. Telzi Yeshiva was wiped out. Ponevezh Yeshiva was wiped out. All the yeshivas were wiped out. And it's taken Rabbi Isai 50 years maybe to restore it. We don't have the level that they had. So on that very day, Rabbi Akiva went to the Doreim, and he went ahead and he taught these 5 Tanoim, which we all know: Rabbi Meir, Rabbi Yehuda, Rabbi Shimon, Rabbi Yasi, Rabbi Shimon, Elazar ben Shamua. These are people that we talk about every single day almost. And he resurrected Torah. And that's the grace of Simcha of Lag BaOmer. Because Klal Yisrael, Torah was given a future. That's the Simcha of Lag BaOmer. But there's another important lesson to learn from this. And that is the Koiches HaNefesh of Rabbi Akiva. I mean, picture yourself, try to put yourself in his shoes. Your whole yeshiva was just devastated. You lost everything. Most people would fall into a deep depression and maybe never come out of it. But what did Rabbi Akiva do? He picked himself up, he dusted himself off, metaphorically, and he went and he resurrected Torah to Klal Yisrael. That is Meshunadika Koiches HaNefesh. And I think that what motivated Rabbi Akiva, if I can suggest, is that there's a pasuk in the Torah that says this is what you have to do in this situation. As the Torah writes in Parshas Nitzavim or Vayelech, Ki lo yishakach mipi zarai, which is not only a promise from the Rebbeinu Shalom that Torah will never be forgotten, but it is also a mandate, an obligation on every person to make sure to do what you can do. Ki lo yishakach mipi zarai. And Rabbi Akiva felt that achrayus, and therefore he resurrected Torah. If you want a more modern day example of Rabbi Akiva, I think this is the story of the Ponevezh Rav. The Ponevezh Rav lived in a city in Lithuania called Ponevezh, which I was there. And there, it's a city. There are street signs, road signs, how to get to Ponevezh. He had a yeshiva. He was the Rav of the Shtut. He was the Rosh Yeshiva. He was a man with a wife and children. He lost everything. The entire town of Ponevezh was destroyed, with the yeshiva, with his wife or with his children. When I was in Lithuania a couple years ago, I went to the building that housed the Panovich Rov, which today is a bakery and a cafe. And there's a plaque on the wall outside of the building that at one time this was the Panovich Yeshiva. And I am told the Panovich Rov made it to Eretz Yisrael, that I know, that's a fact. But I am told that when he got there, he was in a deep depression, which is understandable. But what did he do? He went and he bought a plot of land in Bnei Brak. Then he rebuilt his yeshiva. He remarried. He had children and created one of the biggest Mekemes HaTorah in all of the world. You know, when I was in Eretz Yisrael a couple of years ago, I went on a Motzai Shabbos to visit the Panovich Yeshiva. I actually went to visit Rav Chaim Kanievsky. I had an Einakol, his bar mitzvah. We went in, he spent some time with us, and then I went to Panovich. Motzai Shabbos in the winter. I walked into the yeshiva, into the Yezras Noshim, and it was as lebedik in that yeshiva on a Motzai Shabbos in the winter, guys tumbling and learning, like it is in our yeshiva on the third day of Elul, with the same Rischo de Raisa, the same. That's the yeshiva he created. Why? Because he felt the achrayus of ki loisi shakach mipi zarai. I have to do something about it. But there's another insight that I want to share with you about Rabbi Akiva. I'm sure that most of you have learned Masechta Makkos. The Gishmaka Masechta, it's not too long. And therefore, I'm sure most of you, if you haven't learned it yourself, you certainly have gone to a siyum of Masechta Makkos, and you're familiar with the famous last Amud of Masechta Makkos, where the Gemara writes, and the Gemara says, the Gemara says over here, Kevin shehigiu laharabayis ro shul sheyetzim mibeis kodshei hakodshin. Rabbi Akiva v'chaveirav came up to the harabayis. Came up to the harabayis, and they saw a fox coming out of the kodshei kodshin. His chilu hein beichen Rabbi Akiva mitzachek, the famous Gemara. They started crying. He was laughing. Amru loy mibnei mitzachek. They said to him, Rabbi Akiva, you out of your mind? Why are you laughing? It's time to cry. Amar lahem l'neatem beichen. Said, no, if I care, why are you crying? And then the Gemara says that they told him, a shul comes out from Beis Kodshei HaKodshim, we shouldn't cry. Rabbi Akiva famously says, and I can't go through the whole Gemara, but I knew that there were two nevuas. One nevuah was about the Churban. And there's another nevuah of Ado Yeshvu Zakenim Zakenis B'Shari Yushalayim. Once again, old men and women will sit in the Shari Yushalayim. So as long as, says Rabbi Akiva, as long as I didn't know whether the Churban would come. Now I saw that the Churban would come, I know that the Yeshua would come as well. Now, what type of personality, Rabbi, says that? They could look at the darkest of the dark and see some light. That's the personality of Rabbi Akiva. And that's not the only time. Have you ever learned Masechta Yuma or ever learned the Mishnayos in Masechta Yuma? You know the last Mishnah Masechta Yuma, very famous Gemara. As the Gemara says in Masechta Yuma, Rabbi Akiva, Ashrechem Yisrael, Lifnei Miatem Etarin, U'mitzareschem Avichem Shebashamayim. Tells them, we're going to achieve Tara Idei the Rebbeinu Shalom. Rabbi Akiva lived a very interesting life. He lived before the Churban Bayis. He lived at the time that there was a Beis Hamikdash, and he lived after the Churban. Now, can you compare the Yom Kippur of Bisman Beis Hamikdash Kayam to a Yom Kippur without a Beis Hamikdash? A Beis Hamikdash, when there was Avodas Kohen Gadol, where the Shnei Seirim, Kapor B'chol Kal Yisrael, where the Lashon Zahiris turned to white, that's a Yom Kippur. And then you live after the Churban, where what's Yom Kippur? That you read the Avodah, no Korban, no nothing. That's a Yom Kippur. And Rabbi Akiva saw them both. For us, Yom Kippur is Yom Kippur. Okay, it's all we had for 2,000 years. But to go ahead and to witness what was and now what is. So das sagt Rabbi Akiva. No. Ashrechem Yisrael, Lifnei Miatem Etarim Tareschem. We can still have kapara because the Rebbeinu Shalom himself is going to be mataras. That's the personality of Rabbi Akiva, the ability to look at the great darkness and to see light. Who was Rabbi Akiva's Rebbe? Rabbi Akiva's Rebbe was someone named Nocham Ish Gamzu. And was very successful in implanting that Shitas HaChaim, to be able to see Gamzu L'Taiva. That Rabbi Sai is something that we should try to emulate. We shouldn't have the Nisayan, but there always are difficulties and challenges in life which a person has to say Gamzu L'Taiva. I am saying Shir now. That's our challenge on Rabbi Sai. So Rabbi Sai, with that, I wish you all a good Shabbos. And I'll see you, Mitzvah Hashem, all Sunday morning when we'll learn the Ramban, hopefully in Parshas Bahar B'Chukaisai, a very important Ramban. Want to wish everybody a good Shabbos. You should stay safe, stay healthy. Try to help your parents, especially help your grandparents. And Mitzvah Hashem, have a nice Shabbos. Good Shabbos.
Shabbos, Rabbi.
Good job.
Thank you very much, Rabbi. Have a wonderful Shabbos.